Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We are the podcast that helps your small business grow through education and insight on all things digital marketing. Today, Liz is going back to basics and talking online reputation.
That's right. Our Back to Basics series is looking back at some of our very first episodes and updating them for the latest and greatest in 2019. So let's first start off by talking about what online reputation management is. It's essentially a strategy you create and implement to ensure your business has a positive online presence. It encompasses the content you create or publish on a variety of websites, including your own. And it also includes feedback and reviews on various review sites. I think the one big thing that I want to stress in terms of just general reputation, because I think, we all have a sense of what a reputation is, but there's still a lot of fuzziness, I think, around what online reputation management is. In my mind, your reputation, it occurs very organically. If you do good work, that's gonna percolate around your network, your community. That's all great. And I think that's true of online reputation management as well. But I think the big difference is that with the online piece, you have to take an active role in it. You can't just sit back and let your happy customers talk about you. It's just not enough. You have to be a very active participant in this thing called online reputation management. Whether you like it or not, it's, the internet is here. It's not going away. And yeah, you have to be a participant in all of this. So I really wanted to stress that right off the bat. Now, typically when we talk about reputation management, I'm often using it in the context of lead generation, but it really does go beyond that to include things like recruiting employees or perhaps securing funding from investors. Now, that's not really our area of expertise. We're not going to get into that on this podcast, but it is important to remember. So from a lead generation and sales perspective, it's important to remember that 84% of people trust online reviews as much as they would a personal recommendation. And nearly everyone is going to the internet and checking online reviews. I think it's like 90% of people go to the internet, look at reviews, and use that to make a purchasing decision. So this really does matter. If you are going to be in business in 2019, you have to put some effort behind your online reputation management. So because this is a back to basics episode, we are going to go back to some of the very basics. I'm sure this will be a review for some listeners, but hey, it's never a bad thing to go back and kind of refresh your memory about this stuff. So in terms of some initial steps that I recommend, first and foremost, make sure your business can be found. If you are a new business, claim your Google My Business listing and use something like Moz Local. Sandro and I are big fans of Moz, so we use that one quite often. Use these tools to make sure your profiles are complete. Make sure they include all of the pertinent information like business hours, contact information. And again, even if you are an established business, it's probably a smart thing to go back and do an audit and make sure everything is up to date. I'm sure things with your business have changed, maybe hours, contact information. If you have outdated information out there, well, that is ripe for a negative review just with someone trying to get in contact with you and suddenly they can't. And then you're dealing with a review from someone who didn't even make a purchase from you. So things like that, you want to catch, you want to go back, do an audit, make sure everything is up to date and correct. And maybe there are some new platforms, some new directory listings that you never even captured.
And also Google adds attributes every once in a while, like
Thank
women-led.
Yeah.
If one of your managers is a woman, you can add that into your Google My Business attribute, as well as veteran-led if you're a veteran. These are things that they keep updating. So yeah, always good to keep an eye on those.
Yeah. I'm also recommending that you look at things from a mobile perspective now. Back in 2016, when we first did some episodes on reputation management, we were talking about mobile, but it wasn't, now it's 100% mobile first. So I think it would be a good idea to, through the eyes of your customer, look at your brand, look at everything from a mobile perspective. I'm not going to get into user experience or anything like that. I'm more so speaking from, again, the review side of things, the interacting with your business, things like that. And building on that, I'm also recommending that you go through every touch point you have with a client and identify how you can use that to improve your online reputation. So for example, I'll use myself as an example. As we are communicating with clients just through email on a day-to-day basis, we should have in our email signature some link, maybe it could be as simple as just to Google, click here to leave us a Google review. There are probably many different touch points throughout that customer journey where you can tweak your process or add something like this to help improve your reputation. My next piece of advice builds on what I've already started to talk about. So this is the ongoing piece to online reputation management. This is not something that you can set and forget. It's not something that you can visit once every 6 months. Again, you really need to take an active role in managing and maintaining your reputation. This could be you as the business owner. It could be someone in-house, an administrative assistant, or it could be a third-party agency or vendor who is responsible for fielding different positive and negative reviews. Either way, someone needs to own this, and there needs to be consistent communication about the status and the progress. I'm a big fan of putting systems in place. I'm also guilty of making systems too complex. So please keep it simple. I mean, it could literally be as simple as let's draft 5 sample responses to both positive and negative reviews. Having that ready to go will make the process of creating this system, like that can be step 1. Again, it's not going to come together overnight, but starting to get that process in place, I'm a big believer in that. I also recommend that you test and try different tools to help maintain your reputation. This could be as simple as something as free Google alerts. Could be some social media monitoring tools to understand what people are saying about you or your brand. Or it could be a more robust tool like GatherUp that incorporates social monitoring, review requests, as well as reporting. All of that for, a reasonable monthly investment. And I think you have actually interacted with the founder of GatherUp, correct?
Yeah, shout out to Mike Blumenthal.
Yes.
They do great work out there. And it's a pretty great service for a pretty great price. So
definitely check them out. There are a lot of tools out there. One important thing to keep in mind is that the tool is not necessarily going to do all of the work for you. Yes, it will help with some automation and maybe quantifying the work that you're doing. That's always helpful to me. If you can go back to the client or internally, look at, your net promoter score, whether it's increasing, decreasing. I think GatherUp uses the net promoter score as one of their indicators of progress. So yeah, tools like that are great, but remember, they're not going to do the work for you. You still need you need some human interaction in this process. You're still going to need a human to make sure everything is running correctly. And you're probably going to need humans to definitely step in and to respond to some of those negative reviews. So keep that in mind.
a quick side note, a net promoter score, that's a term generally used as the aggregate of all your online reviews, like from Yelp and Google and Facebook and things like that, to give you a solid score overall.
Thank you. Yes. It is interesting to me that even in 2019, I sit down with prospective clients and I ask them, hey, what are you doing to maintain your online reputation management? And a lot of them aren't doing anything. So yes, we are sitting here as agencies. We know the value of this, but I still think that there are a lot of businesses out there that aren't giving this the attention it deserves.
Yeah, and you may take some of the negative reviews personally, but that's why it's a good reason to have a few pre-written out, like Liz suggested.
Responses
Written out. It's something you need to tackle. You may hate it, but it's something everyone should do.
We know you're busy. When you're running a business, we know there are a million things that need your attention every day. And I think if you can work in the reputation management in the same way that you do your regular marketing or like your bookkeeping and accounting, that's something too that you can't just visit that every 6 months. You've got to be looking at that on a regular basis. I think online reputation management needs to get into a similar rotation and get some of your attention on a consistent basis.
I couldn't agree more, Liz. There's not enough people give it attention, and it's something that will help you even with some Google rankings. We've seen some people saying that responding to reviews definitely helps with your Google.
Yes, I didn't get too much into the SEO piece of this today. I think I really wanted to stress just being involved, doing it, reaping some of the benefits long term.
Great. Thanks so much, Liz. And thank you for listening. We appreciate it. If you like what you hear, we'd love a review. If you have a question, we'd love to hear it. We'll leave our email address in the show notes. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you do have a question, we'll give you a shout out and a link back to your site on our website. Thanks again for listening to us. See you next time.